Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I am going to talk about poem by Robert Southey. The poem name is After Blenheim. So first of all, we are going to start with the summary of what is there in the poem. Okay. So as you can see that the poem begins with the two kids playing near their cottage and a skull is being found by one of them, and they have their grandfather beside. The grandfather name is old Casper, and they ask about what is happening and what is this skull about. The grandfather Casper then tells them the story behind it, the story behind the great victory, the so-called great victory. Okay, old Casper keeps repeating that it was a famous victory, and in spite of repeating famous victory, you cannot see something victorious in that particular story. So here it is kind of an anti-war poem you are going to face. Okay, so first we are going to start with the first paragraph. It was a summer evening. Old Casper's work was done, and he before his cottage door was sitting in the sun, and by him spotted on the green his little grandchild Wilhelmine. Okay, so here you can see there is very jolly, very warm environment. Old Casper and his grandchildren is sitting outside and the grandchildren are playing. Then she saw her brother Peterkin roll something large and round, which he beside the rivulet in playing there had found. He came to ask what he had found that was so large and smooth and round. So basically near the rivulet means a kind of a stream, they were both playing. Peterkin and his sister, they were playing, and Peterkin had found something large, smooth and round. The suspense has been created with the first two paragraphs itself. So here we are going to see what is exactly happening and what is this large, smooth and round thing about. Okay, then comes the third paragraph. Old Casper took it from the boy who stood expectant by, and then the old man shook his head, and with a natural sigh, "This some poor fellow's skull," he said, "who fell in the great victory." So basically in the third stanza, old Casper is taking that round thing away from a boy, and after a brief look at it with a mere disappointment, he finds it to be a skull of some soldier who has died in a war. The old man also levels the Battle of Blenheim as a great victory. I find them in the garden, for there's many here about, and often when I go to plough, the ploughshare turns them out. For many thousand men, said he, were slain in that great victory. Here the ploughshare means the ploughing teeth, okay, the one we use, the kind of a weapon. So every time you plough in this particular land or nearby area, you are going to find skulls. Okay, so in fourth paragraph, the old man is actually telling that there are thousands of soldiers who died in the famous war of Blenheim. He also tells how he found many such things while digging the field. The old man believes that the trump of the Battle of Blenheim is an example of sheer patriotism. He believed that the soldiers sacrificed their life for the people of the country and they did not die in vain. The old farmer served the purpose of victory in the battle. Okay, but overall, if you see, he is giving a sigh. So he is in a way disappointed, and he is also trying to convince himself that it was a great victory. Okay, next paragraph is, now tell us what was all about. Young Peterkin, he cries, and little Wilhelmine looks up with wonder waiting eyes. Now tell us all about the war and what they fought each other for. It was English, Caspar cried, who put the French to rout, but what they fought each other for I could not well make out. But everybody said, quote he, that was a famous victory. So basically, in the fifth stanza, the children are now more curious to know, after listening the story of a war, that what is the reason behind the war and what they fought for each other. What was the reason they were fighting? In the sixth stanza, the Caspar cries and say that the history, he is in a way narrating the history. He's saying that the English army defeated the French Bavarian army in war, and the old man is saying that he doesn't know the exact reason behind it, and never tried to know the reason behind it. All he could remember was only one thing, and it was that it was a famous victory, and he is saying repeatedly to put some belief in it. Okay, even he doesn't know what is the reason behind all those fights in war, all those sacrifices of people, all those killing of people, but he just know that there is some victory behind it. His country has won it, and that's why it is a victorious, famous victory. Okay, victorious moment. In the seventh stanza, he says, the old Caspar says, my father lived at Blenheim then, you little stream hard by. They burnt his dwelling to the ground, and he was forced to fly. So with his wife and child he fled, nor had he where to rest his head. With fire and sword the country round was wasted far and wide, and many a childing mother then and a newborn baby died. But things like that must be at every famous victory. Basically, in the seventh stanza, the old man is saying that his father used to live in a small village of Blenheim nearby. Okay, when the war was occurring, the French soldier attacked the village and burned all the homes of innocent villagers. So his father moved to another place with him, but could not find a home because of the war. They had to roam from one place to another. He is in a way narrating the history of what has happened to those people who were not included in the war, but they had to suffer a lot because of war. In the eighth stanza, the poet describes the severity of the battlefield. Fire, sword, it is representing destruction, death, and horror. He insists that the death of the mother and newborn baby as a death of innocence. Okay, but he thinks that such things must be there because we all need famous victory. He intentionally repeated the word famous victory to create a sense of irony. The poet here is giving us a sense of irony. He's saying that even though with all the fire and sword and all the killing of mother and newborn child, but that is a part of war, isn't it? Okay, because we need great victory. So that's how we got on the verge of on the life of the innocence. Okay, so your newborn baby died is in a way a metaphor. It symbolizes innocence. They say it was a shocking sight after the field was won, for many thousand bodies here lay rotting in the sun. But things like that must be after a famous victory. Great praise the Duke of Malborn won, and our good Prince Eugene. Why, 'twas a very wicked thing, said little Wilhelmine. Nay, nay, my little girl, quoth he, it was a famous victory. Again, in the ninth stanza, he tells about the horror scene after the battle was won. Thousands of bodies of soldier was rotting like in the field, but then again he mentioned that such thing must be there when we want famous victory like that, right? In the 10th stanza, the poet praises Prince Eugene and the Duke of Marlborough for the victory. But the little girl over here, little Wilhelmine, she thought that it was a wicked thing and wondered how her grandfather praises such things. But the old farmer again levels the war as a famous victory despite hiding all the destruction caused by the war. The small children, the little children, are questioning about all the destructions and what is the use, what is the sense of all these, all the victory. The in fact the grandchildren are thinking of what is the use of all this praise and victory when a lot of destructions has already been happened, right? So 10th stanza tells us about that. Now we are moving to the last stanza. And everybody praised the Duke, who this great fight did win. But what good came of it at last? Quoth little Peterkin. Why, that I cannot tell, said he, but it was a famous victory. In the last stanza, he says everyone praised the Duke for the win. But the Peterkin over here is in a way bit suspicious, and he never understood, or he asked about the purpose of war and what good did it do. The old man again repeat it was a famous victory. The famous victory and the repetition of this line is an epitome of irony here. So you can understand that basically the whole summary of the poem is it was a war between English people and French, and France people lose the war, and the English people is praising the great victory. But the poem over here states that what is so great about the war. This poem is in fact an anti-war poem, and it is giving us the horrors of what happens when actually war occurs. So it is not a normal or small thing to occur. Lots of people die, they lose their families, people shifts, people migrates from one place to another, etc, etc. So this was it. I hope you like this video. In the coming videos I will be coming up with more interesting works, novels or poems, etc, etc. Till then, keep learning and stay healthy, stay happy. Bye.